Hey, it's me SB and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you are here. So today I am going to show you how to make a trifold folio once again, except this time I am going to be utilizing Silhouette Studio and my Silhouette Cameo 4. So I am going to walk you step by step through how I used a full 12 by 12 sheet of paper on my Cameo machine. So let's go ahead and get to it. So first and foremost, we are going to open up a new tab here, and I am using the Silhouette Studio Business Edition, and this will also work in a regular free edition version. So what I am going to do is I am going to go ahead and make sure that my show cut border is on, which is right here. So make sure it is checked. So that is definitely the key here that we want to see. All right, so now we are going to go over here and go to our drawing tools, and we are going to go to our rounded box, or if you just want a regular box, go ahead and click on that. And now we're just going to draw out a box here. And if you want, you can adjust your rounded little box. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. Okay, there we go. I like the way that looks. So now I'm going to click on it again, and I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to unclick my aspect ratio lock. And I am going to type in 11.850 and 11.850. So there is our box, and now I am going to click center to page. And now we should have our nice rounded square on the inside of our cut lines. So I'll go ahead and zoom in for you so you can see that a little better. And you see it is right on the inside of our box, or our cut lines. And that is exactly what we want. So now we are going to go ahead and create our score lines. And the way I do that is I just simply go to line tool here, or draw a line, click it, and now we are going to simply draw a straight line. You're going to click, and then you're going to hold down shift to create a straight line. And it doesn't matter the size because we're going to change that. So I'm going to make this about 8.5 inches. So 8.5. And then we are going to grab it and make sure that it is lined up with the top here. And now I am going to place it roughly, put it at 3 inches actually. That looks good. So now we're going to duplicate this. Now there are several ways that you could do this. My favorite way is just hitting Control and then my arrow key, and it will duplicate it. Another way is you can simply go up here and click this button and it'll duplicate it as well. But we only need one more line, and this is going to determine our width. So I am actually going to put it about 7.5. So now we have our flap, our middle, and our outside. Actually, let's scoot it over. Let's put it at 7, roughly 7 3/4. Yeah, I think that'll look nice. Okay. So now I'm just going to drag. I'm going to right click or left click and drag to select my two lines. And we're going to move up here. And we're going to select our line type. I like to use the widest dashed line. I just feel like it's not going to like rip my paper, you know, like when I'm folding it. Alternatively, you can leave them solid and change the color, which I'll show you that real quick. Let's just switch it. And let's switch the color to, let's just switch it to black, and I'm actually gonna make this a little thicker. So now we've got our black lines, and when you go to cut this, I'm gonna show you real quick in the send panel. You see how everything is just like this? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to line. You're gonna wanna make sure that you have it set to cardstock plain, because that's what we're gonna be actually cutting out our paper in, or our little folio. And if you're using heavier cardstock, that would probably work even better. And then you're gonna go here to action on our black line and select score. And that is going to change that line to a score line. And I don't know if you saw that, but it did change our blade depth and our force. So whenever I click on this one, as you see, our blade depth is 3, our force is 20. You can even go here and change the force if you feel like it's too much, to like, I don't know, a 4. But that is entirely up to you. You know the paper that you are going to be using. And yeah, simple way of doing that. I personally prefer to use dashed lines. So after all that, let's continue on. Now we're going to create our little pockets, if that's what you want to do. And we're going to use the line tool again. And I'm just going to hold down Shift and create a line. And we're going to go here and we're going to make it the exact width of our square. So that was 11.85. And then we are going to just align this. And I'm actually going to move this down. Let's see in here. Oops. As you can see here on, I'm looking at the ruler here on the side to see where I want to put my line. And you can make your pockets as deep or as narrow as you want. I'm going to put it about 9.5. That looks good. So that means I am going to have to extend my line down. And that's just as simple as that. All right, that looks good to me. So that is not exactly centered. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to change this to our dashed line as well. And I'll go ahead and change it to black. And we're going to up this so we can see it. There we go. Perfect. So now I am going to create my lines here. And in order for it to actually close, we're going to have to create some angled lines to cut out a little bit. So I'm just going to zoom in here. And once again, we are going to use our line tool. And I am just going to place it as close as I can. Doesn't really matter. Hold down Shift. And this one can actually extend down a little bit further. We're just going to angle it just a little bit. And that should be good. And we're going to scoot it. And now we're going to go over here to our replicate panel. And we are just going to use our mirror. And we're going to mirror right. And now we got a nice little V shape here. Okay, right here I'm just playing around until I get it right. You do want it to be a little bit wider so that way it closes properly, because the one that I initially did was a little bit too close together and it didn't close properly. So the initial one was probably correct and the one that I changed it to was probably incorrect. Anyways, just letting you know you're gonna have to play around with it until you find the right width. All right, that is a little better. I prefer that over the other one. So I'm going to group those together. And now I am actually just going to duplicate to the right using my replicate panel again. And we're just going to move this over. All right. So now we got everything all nice and set up the way we want it. So now that we have that, we are going to go ahead and cut this out on a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. And you want to make sure that you do use cardstock for this, because if you use regular paper, it's going to be too flimsy. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and I will be back to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so now we've got it all cut out, and let's say you want to actually use some pretty paper, like from a 12 by 12 paper pack, and you want to cut out some panels to put on your little folio. So I'm going to leave this open, but I'm actually going to drag and select everything and click Control G to group everything together so we don't mess with anything. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my rectangle panel here, and I'm going to click the rounded rectangles once again, and we are just simply going to drag a rectangle, and I'm going to adjust this because I want there we go, that looks good. And quick tip, if you don't want your rounded corners to be adjusted anymore, you're just gonna right click, and then you are going to convert to path, and that'll lock those rounded edges into place. So I actually think that's gonna work. So we're gonna have our folio here, and then we're going to have our panels there. So I'm simply just going to duplicate this as well. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just creating more rectangles using my duplicate tool and just dragging and resizing everything to the way I want it. Just do it the way you want to, your preference. Make them as big or as small as you want, or don't even make them at all. As you can see, it's pretty easy. I'm just, playing around with it until I'm happy. All right, that looks really, really good. So now we have all of our panels set up. And if you are using, I think it's the designer and the business edition, I believe you have access to layers. So I'm just going to create a new layer, and I'm going to select all of my little rectangles here, and I'm going to move them to layer 2. So now we can turn them on and off, so we can actually do all of our cuts from this one page. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And there you go. So I'll be back to show you exactly what it looks like when it's all completed. All right, all cut out and ready to go. So I'm just going to quickly show you how I do this. It's really easy. You just simply glue everything, you know, together. If you want, you can just, you know, do your own thing. So it's really, 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 really easy to do once you cut everything out. And it's actually pretty quick once you get everything designed and saved onto your computer. Then you can just, you know, go through, cut them out, and pump out a bunch of Trifold Folios. And you can also, you know, change little settings like how big you want your flap, as you can see there. I am actually just using some glue tape, or, you know, tape glue, whatever you call it, and actually decided that that was the wrong decision because you don't have any means of taking it off and readjusting it if you put it on wrong. Anyways, learn from my mistakes. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial, and I hope it inspires you to do something similar. You can even do this if you don't have a cutting machine. You can simply just create it and then like use that as a template, if you will. It's kind of difficult to do because there aren't, I don't know if there are any 12 by 12 printers out there. That would be kind of cool. I would actually invest in that, because then I could just use 12 by 12 paper to make digital paper, or, you know, to print out my digital papers on it. Okay, anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will catch y'all in the next video. Stay crafty, and I will see you later. Bye.